Hello, future accountants. This is Ian Alfermento, and I was tasked to discuss the answers of our previous quiz from items 17 to 20. Question number 17. Whether a particular engagement is an assurance engagement will depend upon whether it exhibits all the following elements, including so the choices are a three-party relationship involving a professional accountant, a responsible party, and an intended user. 2. A subject matter, a suitable criteria, an engagement process, and a conclusion. So the correct answers are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So first we have three-party relationship. Assurance engagements involve three separate parties. Independent and component professional accountant who adheres to the fundamental principles required by the Code of Ethics, then the party responsible for the subject matter of the assurance engagement, and the intended users to whom the professional accountant usually adheres to the report. The subject matter of an assurance engagement may take many forms such as data, systems and processes, behavior, and the physical characteristics. The criteria are the standards or benchmark used to evaluate or measure the subject matter of an assurance engagement. Without a frame of reference provided by these criteria, any conclusion is open to individual interpretation and misunderstanding, such that the information about it can be subjected to procedures for gathering sufficient appropriate evidence. The practitioner should plan and perform the engagement to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence to determine whether the assertions are free from material misstatements. And the fifth one of this element, the correct one is the assurance report. The professional accountant expresses a conclusion that provides a level of assurance as to whether the subject matter conforms in all material respects with identifiable suitable criteria. Note that not all engagements performed by professional accountants are assurance engagements. Other engagements frequently performed by professional accountants that are not assurance engagements include agreed upon procedures, compilation of financial or other information, preparation of tax returns when no conclusion is expressed, and tax consulting, management consulting, and other advisory services. So next, question number 18. Occurs when a firm or a member of the assurance team could benefit from a financial interest in or other self-interest conflict with an assurance client. The choices are self-interest threat, self-review threat, advocacy threat, and familiarity threat. The correct answer is self-interest threat. Examples of circumstances that may create self-interest threat include a direct financial interest or material indirect financial interest in a client, a loan or guarantee to or from a client or any of its directors or officers, undue independence on total fees from a particular client, concern about the possibility of losing the engagement, having close business relationship with the client, potential employment with the client, and contingent fees relating to an engagement. Next, question number 19. Occurs when, by virtue of close relationship with an assurance client, its directors, officers, or employees, a firm, or a member of the assurance team becomes too sympathetic to the client's interests. The choices are familiarity threat, self-interest threat, self-review threat, and advocacy threat. The correct answer is familiarity threat. So examples of circumstances that may create familiarity threat include a member of the engagement team having an immediate family member or close family member who is a director or officer of the client. Next, a member of the engagement team having an immediate family member or close family member who, as an employee of the assurance client, is in a position to exert direct and significant influence over the subject matter of the engagement. Next, a former partner of the firm being the director, officer of the client, or an employee in a position to exert direct and significant influence over the subject matter of the engagement. Next, long association of a senior member of the engagement team with a client. And last, acceptance of gifts or preferential treatment unless the value is clearly insignificant from the client, its directors, officers, or employees. Last, number 20, examples of close business relationships that may create self-interest and intimidation threat least likely include: among the choices, the correct answer is the purchase of goods and services from assurance client by the firm or from an audit client by network firm or a member of the assurance team, provided that the transaction is in the normal course of business and on an arm's length basis. So I have been mentioning the examples of self-interest threat. Now, I just want to tackle about the intimidation threat. Intimidation threat is the threat that the professional accountant will be deterred from acting objectively because of actual or perceived pressures, including attempts to exercise undue influence over the professional accountant. Examples of circumstances that may create this threat include being threatened with litigation, being threatened with dismissal or replacement over a disagreement with the application of an accounting principle, and being pressured to reduce inappropriately the extent of work performed in order to reduce fees. So that's all. Thank you, and I hope that everyone understands my discussion. Thank you.